Hello and welcome back to Josh Davidson Books. This is my author channel where I talk about all things books that I have written and will write. In this video, we're going to continue the author commentary series from my very first book, Werewolves Hide. If you enjoy the book, if you're enjoying it so far, please consider supporting me and buying the book. It's only $4.99 digital on Amazon. As I continue to read through the chapters, I'm stopping to add author commentary and just thoughts and ideas that I had while writing the book and kind of how I went through it. The reason that I'm doing this is because I am rereading my own book as part of my preparation and my ongoing efforts to work on book 2. I'm currently working on the sequel, and I wanted to reread the first book as a part of that process. So yeah, if you like what you hear or have liked what you hear, please consider buying it. There's a link in the description. Otherwise, I'm just straight up reading my book, and it'll be spoiled for you with interruptions. All right, so here we go. Chapter 3. A dark orange haze suffocates the inside of a cramped, single-wide trailer. Beer cans and ashtrays cover the counters and tables such that no open surfaces are visible. The open floor plan reveals the entirety of the trailer's contents. There are 2 small bedrooms at the south end of a short hall. There's an even smaller bathroom just before the bedrooms with no tub or shower. It has a toilet, an open sink, and a cracked mirror with one of the lights in the mirror burnt out. In the living room, and again, that's me, directing your imagination, taking you a tour through the trailer before we get to the characters. If it were a movie, we'd literally walk through the trailer like that so that you could see the environment that Beau is in now and be introduced to him in the way that I want you to be introduced to him. In the living room, there's an old brown stained couch with a blue, green, and purple Afghan blanket lying over the back of it. 2 lamps on either side of the couch are so dirty that the orange light from each barely shines through to brighten the room. A third lamp in the same condition sits beside the old CRT television, resting on a flimsy coffee table against the wall. A local news report with a fuzzy picture plays quietly as the volume bars get turned down, revealing someone is trying to watch. In a recliner next to the couch, Denise mutters to herself with a cigarette sticking out the side of her mouth. The wheezing sound of medical equipment sitting next to her chair gets interrupted by resentfulness. Can't effing trust anyone these days. Her eyes, slightly hidden behind her graying bangs, dart their focus from the TV toward the kitchen. Through the lingering smoke, it becomes apparent that she is looking at someone sitting at a tiny single-chair table across from the fridge. He's a young man in his late teens or early 20s, wearing light blue jeans torn at the knees and a stained white t-shirt. He adjusts the backward hat on his head while he stares down at his phone. "You hear me, boy?" Denise tries to mumble, slightly more disgruntled, and still there's no response from the man. Even louder she tries again. "I said you hear me, boy!" Still he sits in silence, entranced by his phone. Suddenly, an empty beer bottle is flung from the living room over the couch toward the tiny kitchen. It barely misses him and shudders on the wall behind him. He turns around to react to the noise and then looks back toward his mother in the living room. She speaks with inherent condescension and annoyance. "Even if one of your ears wasn't S, you still wouldn't pay attention to anything but your phone." "Sorry, ma'am." The words crawl from the back of his throat in a pained whisper. "I know you are, Beau. You always are. Being sorry don't get me my beer, though." Beau, who survived the accident and is all grown up, puts his phone in his pocket and stands up to go to the refrigerator. He opens the door and quickly grabs one of the dozens of beer bottles off the shelf. As he closes it, he turns to walk into the living room. Denise puts out her cigarette. "And a new pack from the freezer, too." Beau turns around and opens the freezer this time. Inside are cartons of cigarettes frozen in giant plastic bags. He opens one of them and takes 2 packs out of the box. He closes the freezer and wipes the frost off the cigarette packs as he walks to his mom. He hands her one of them, then puts the other in his front t-shirt pocket. She's clearly still agitated as she continues. "Smokes aren't free, you know. They cost money. They take work to make money. To get the smokes. But you never learned that, did you?" Beau takes the abuse. "No, ma'am, never learned much of anything." Denise assumes he's talking back. "Oh, excuse me, Beau. Didn't I never teach you nothing? You're saying you ain't learned because I ain't been teaching. Is that right?" "No, ma'am, not at all. You teach, I just can't learn, that's all." He gives no resistance to her aggression. She's satisfied with her belittling. "Well, you learned you can't learn, so I guess that's learning something. Now go on, get the F out of here. My show's about to start." So with the character of Denise, I really almost wanted a cartoon level of what's the word I'm looking for? Of angst and aggression between Bo and his mom, because I wanted people to read it and be like, this isn't a real person. She can't be serious. But then hopefully, once you understand what she's been through and the things that she has done, it would start to make sense and make it feel more fully realized. There should be kind of a shock factor, but then as long as you stick with the story, that shock factor and that rough around the edginess of Denise that she has would hopefully make more sense. Where are we at here? Bo leans down to kiss his mother on the forehead, but she reaches over to open her beer, interrupting his gesture. He turns and heads out the trailer screen door. Denise turns the volume of her program back up and starts drinking some more. Later, Bo is driving through the town of Blue Ridge at night. He's in an old, rusty pickup truck that sounds like its propulsion is made possibly by a series of mini explosions. It's slightly out of place for the picturesque, down-home mountain town of Blue Ridge. It's a small settlement, but it's got a little of everything. He drives past the grocery store, the laundry shop, an apartment building, and a barber shop. He turns at Blue Ridge Bank to head west toward the bar. The headlights are on, but the town has glowing street lights at every signpost, so the road doesn't need much extra light to see. The streets are mostly empty, as gatherings are usually saved for the bar, the diner, or house parties. It's a tight-knit community surrounded by a Wyoming beauty. So really, this is kind of like my grand introduction of Blue Ridge through the action of a character, through Bo, and how even though, and I really wanted Bo to feel like he completely belongs here, but is also completely out of place. So there's kind of this, it's like it's his home, but it's at an arm's length, it's at a distance. And that continues as we actually get into the bar scene. Bo pulls into the bar parking lot and shuts his truck off. He puts a cigarette out in the ashtray and takes his seatbelt off to exit. He adjusts his backward baseball cap on his head as he walks into Blue Ridge Bar. Inside the bar, it is very lively. The jukebox is going in the corner, and the mechanical bull is riding nonstop in the other. Neon signs everywhere might make you think for a second that you're in a much bigger city. The cracks and snaps of the pool hall in the back can barely be heard over the chatter and laughter of everyone enjoying themselves. Bo quickly and quietly takes his regular seat at the end of the bar, as far away from everyone else as possible. The bartender soon approaches and serves Bo his regular beer without being asked for an order. Bo offers him a silent toast with a nod of the bottle, then chugs a drink immediately. He glances around at the various people enjoying their friend groups, but doesn't maintain eye contact for too long. In one of these friend groups, a similarly shy young brunette girl seems to be looking back at him. He notices and quickly looks toward the wall, but her potential interest has already been sparked. The girl walks over to Bo to try and introduce herself. By the time she gets to him, he is already looking at his phone, away from everyone else, facing toward the wall. "Hi, I'm Kylie," she tries to shout over all the noise, but he doesn't respond. She cups her mouth to the side of her face and tries louder. "I said I'm Kylie." Still nothing from him. She takes further initiative and taps him on his right shoulder. Bo turns around quickly, slightly scared, and accidentally knocks Kylie's beer out of her hand. It falls to the floor and breaks, but no one reacts because it is too loud to notice. So I also really wanted this recurring theme of Bo getting tapped on the shoulder, because he can't hear and everybody tries to get his attention. And so that's a callback to Sammy in the back of the car. We're doing it again today. He's still doing it as an adult, and it'll happen later in the story as well. I kind of wanted this, again, this ongoing recurring theme of having his shoulder tapped on to get his attention, and it's scaring him being scared because he can't hear it. "I'm really so very sorry. I'll buy you another one, I promise." Bo is so embarrassed he's almost shaking. He motions to the bartender with 2 fingers to order more beer for him and Kylie. "You get all your girls' drinks this way? Breaking what we have so only you can fix it?" She's not as upset as Bo was expecting, and in fact is using his clumsiness to further the conversation. Bo is caught off guard. "What? Oh no, it's not like that at all." Kylie grins. "So what's your name then? I introduced myself and you didn't back, so you're being kind of rude." Bo exhales and smiles a bit. "Oh yeah, right, sorry, it's Bo. I'm Bo." "Bo? That's simple. I like it. It's like that kid from that old car wreck everyone used to talk about." Kylie points to an old newspaper about the crash on the wall. Bo blushes a little. "Well, yeah, that's me. I'm him. I'm that kid." Kylie's eyes widen, and her slight grin becomes a face-hurting smile. She turns around in a hurry, facing her friends. "Hey guys, I was right. He's the deaf..." Bad word. "My parents told me about. Drinks for me all night." Kylie turns back around to look at Bo. The color is gone from his face and he's petrified. She gloats. My friends and I had a bet if it was you or not, so thanks for the beers after all, weirdo. So I really loved this idea of kind of setting up Bo that, like, even if it seems like things are going to work out for him, they're not, right? So it's almost like this idyllic, hard to believe, perfect situation, sits down in a bar, immediately makes eye contact with somebody, but it's under false pretense. She's not really interested in him. She's trying to win a bet with her friends and make fun of him because she's a less than desirable character. I also really like this idea of kind of judging a book by its cover and making these assumptions about characters in only a few moments of interactions with them. And again, I like to have fun and play against expectations. You know, this setting is like perfectly ripe for a meet cute. And so it going terribly wrong, I thought was like really fun and exciting and served the character and story well. We'll have another chance for a better, more traditional meet cute, maybe in a moment in the next chapter. She sets the beverage he bought her down in front of him and runs off. Bo looks at the group of people laughing at him and pointing. As they continue laughing, he chugs both bottles in seconds, spilling overflow down his neck onto his shirt. He gasps for air and wipes the excess beer from his clean-shaven mouth, then adjusts his backward baseball cap, preparing for battle. It's like no question for Bo. Oh, it's fighting time. I've been in a bar fight before. Bo stands up and marches toward the friend group, who have now turned their backs on him. He taps on the right shoulder of the tallest guy in the bunch, kind of paying them back for the tap. The man with the green turtleneck starts to turn around, but before he can, Bo is already wailing on him. A right hook to the face knocks his glasses to the ground. Before he realizes what's happening, Bo hits him again in the abdomen with a flurry of short jabs. A shorter guy in a red flannel shirt tackles Bo and lifts him onto a table where another group of friends sit and talk. They all stand up and exclaim in shock as the table, pitchers, and bottles of beer break, soaking Bo while he wrestles with the compact guy in red flannel. Kylie looks on with glee, egging on the fight. Get him, Chester! Beat him, Eric! Bo is punched in his sides repeatedly while he continues to elbow the back of the red flannel shirt as hard as he can. And, you know, writing action is very hard. Writing in general is very hard. But I tried to give characters in scenes that matter specific items or clothing that is easy to pull out of a crowd. A green turtleneck, a red checkered shirt, a big guy, a shorter guy. So you could try to get some comparison of their mass while you're trying to imagine these images in your mind. Eric, the tall guy in the green shirt, walks over and takes some cheap shots, kicking Bo in his side and in the face. Bo spits blood out of his mouth onto the back of Chester's red flannel shirt and tries to twist out, but he can't escape. A third friend in a white-collared shirt enters the mix and holds Bo's arm down behind his back. Sometime later, Bo is sitting in his truck, bloodied and bruised. The parking lot is empty and the bar has long been closed. His face is red and his left eye is dark purple. He has torn off toilet paper and both nostrils dripping with blood. He takes one of them out so he can breathe through his nose for a moment. Taking a deep, wet inhale, Bo then hawks a giant, bloody loogie out his rolled-down driver's side window. He holds a cold beer bottle on his right cheek to relieve the swelling. A teardrop sneaks out of his unbruised eye, but he swiftly wipes it away. Bo takes a swig of the beer before starting his truck and putting it into gear. So I also knew... So obviously Madison and Bo are very different people. They've lived different lives. Their relationship when it was 20 years ago is different than their relationship now. And I knew from like a pacing perspective, if chapter 2 was like a slow solitude life for Madison, then we needed to have an energetic, troublemaking, fighting all the time life for Bo. And so it just made sense to put that chapter right away to kind of, again, we had like a valley, so we wanted to come up with a peak again here with some more action. In the middle of the night, Bo returns home and hits the mailbox in front of his mom's trailer before putting the truck in park. He stumbles out of the driver's seat and takes 3 or 4 tries to close the truck door successfully. Instead of going inside, he walks far left past several other trailers, finally arriving at a double-wide blue trailer. He slowly and shakily walks to the back, where there is an open window. Man, I wonder why his trailer's blue. He places both hands on it and tries to pull himself up, but he's too drunk. He lifts his feet up, scraping and kicking the trailer, trying to find footing to lift himself, but instead falls back on the ground. He groans in pain as the light inside the trailer turns on. And what I was going for is, like, again, this kind of realistic, drunken attempt to get in the house where it makes sense to him, but it doesn't make sense to anybody watching him. So to just keep trying, just keep trying. But the light turns on. Quickly, a thin, pale girl Beau's age with straight black hair and a yellow nightgown sticks her head out the window. With angry concern and a country twang in her voice. I think we've all experienced angry concern in our lives. She sees if he's okay. "Beau, baby, what the F are you doing?" As she looks down at him, two tiny paws appear below the window. A small Yorkshire Terrier pulls his petite head up over the windowsill, looking on in wonder as he breathes heavily with his tongue sticking out. She walks away from the window. "Down, Billy." The dog responds immediately and lowers himself back down. A few moments later, Beau and the girl are inside her trailer and walking into her bedroom where the open window is. He is barely walking and she is trying her best to carry him with his right arm on her shoulders, but she's much smaller than he is. The struggle is made worse by the fact that she is obviously very, very pregnant and could go into labor any day now. So I'm trying, again, my best to reveal description as it matters. So I'm imagining, the camera angle of seeing Lacey struggling, carrying Beau, and as she reaches down to lift his arm up or something, then you would look down and you would see her belly, and all of this information would just hit you in a flurry. So I tried to describe it as clearly and quickly as possible. Beau mumbles through the drunkenness and pain. "Lacey, baby, I'm sorry. I let it get the best of me again." Lacey kicks clothes out of the way, making space for the bed. "Let what get the best of you again?" Billy the dog stays as close as possible, walking around the two of them, jumping out of the way at their sudden movements, but then walking close again when he can. "My feelings, the mean ones." Beau lifts his groggy head up to try and look at her. "Well, tell me about it when you can tell me about it. You need to sleep." Lacey knows that there's no point here. With a final push of all the energy she has left, Lacey shoves Beau forward and lets him fall into the bed. Just before his face hits the pillow, his head tilts so that his left ear is face down against the bed as he lays there. The dog immediately jumps up on the bed, sniffing all around Beau. Lacey exhales in relief and turns the lights out before trying to gently squeeze into the bed. Beau does all he can to try and slide over. She sits up slightly higher than him against a pillow that softens the feeling of the hardwood headboard. She taps him on his left shoulder and snaps at the dog to calm down. Very important point there. Trying to establish a closeness between Beau and Lacey. When Lacey taps him, and he knows it's Lacey, he doesn't get scared. Beau rotates his head around so that his right ear rests on her belly, and he wraps his left arm around her legs. She puts her arm on his shoulder and takes his baseball cap off. Billy finally gets calm and lies at the foot of the bed. Beau stays lying down, but still tries to talk some more. "I wish there was a way I could lay and listen to her heartbeat and hear you at the same time. Sorry about that." So Beau's so he's deaf in his right ear, so he's trying to lay his head down on her belly, but he can't hear his own unborn child's heartbeat because the ear doesn't work. And so he's again, being drunk and being sad. Lacey frowns and shakes her head. No, baby, don't say things like that. It's not your fault. You just rest. Her heartbeat will be there in the morning for you just like I will." Beau is reaching the emotional stage of his intoxication. "I hate myself for how I am. I should be better to you and better for her." He rubs Lacey's belly, referencing their unborn daughter. "When my dad left, I swore I'd be a better man than he was, but all this pain I got makes me worse than I want to be. And I'm just so dumb, and you have to say things over and over." Lacey interrupts. "Baby, it's fine. Sleep. Sleep now. You're good, we're good, you're safe. Rest it off." Beau is finally passing out. "I see you. I hear you." Lacey starts to sing, and that's Lacey's response. She starts to sing a lullaby, rubbing her belly and the top of Beau's head simultaneously as they drift to sleep. That's the end of chapter 3. And yeah, so I wanted to create this little cute saying between them where Beau says, "I see you," and she says, "I hear you." And when that phrase is first introduced, your only association with it is what you know about Beau. So when I was writing the book, the next chapter that we'll get to was not even a part of the plan. I just realized after I wrote this chapter and all the bullshit that Beau had just put Lacey through in her character introduction and how nonchalant and easygoing she was and just accepting of it all, my question as a writer, I felt was going to be the same question of the audience, which was, why is Lacey with Bo? How did they meet? And so that's where we get to chapter 4, and that'll be the next chapter in the next video. If you enjoy this author commentary channel where I read through the book and offer some of my insights, please consider buying the book. I have links in the video description. It's only $4.99 for the digital version. If you want to keep up to date with everything that is going on in my author life, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Join in on the conversation. I just ask that you don't spoil anything for people who maybe have not read it yet. So yeah, spoiler-free comments if you can. I really appreciate it. As always, thank you for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next video.